Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Prosper Nutrition Show, where we want you to prosper and be in health. My name is Jason Steves. I'm a clinical account specialist with Perk Integrative Health, and I'm joined by my co-host Steve Steves, who is a certified clinical nutritionist and naturopath. And today we're going to be talking to you about how you can repair your liver with nutrition tips. And we have a special guest today as well. We're going to have a young lady join us, and she's going to share with us about how her health has been benefited through these nutrition tips we're going to talk about. So we're excited about this. And Steve, thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, Jason. I'm really excited about the topic. It's actually a topic that everyone has to deal with. Everyone's got a liver, everyone's got a gallbladder, and people are unaware of how easily and continuously those organs are attacked by environmental chemicals, pollutants, food substances. We just want to increase that awareness because certainly Natalie is going to share her awareness over the last 4 years of our relationship with her. And it's exciting testimony to hear the victory that she's had with the years of struggles she had prior to utilizing these ancient wisdom approaches that we're going to share today.
Yeah. And you know what we've learned, folks, is there are hundreds of chemicals in our environment that can essentially create a toxic load or burden on our body and especially our liver. And so this is something that we have a really hard time with because we may not be aware of it, or may not be aware of the chemicals in general, but we may not be aware of where we're coming in contact with it, and therefore not sure how to reduce that load and what other nutritional things we can do to help our body to detoxify naturally. So we're going to be talking about those points today. Very excited about it. So with no further ado, we're going to bring Natalie in here, and she's going to share with us a little bit about some of her health challenges
And
that
before
she's
we
had.
even get started with her, Jason, I had someone that was a client today that was having a skin issue and the issue of not having enough nutrients. She had been cutting back on some of her nutrients and is actually the same scenario with Natalie that we'll talk about.
That's great. All right, so here we go. We're going to bring Natalie in. Let's hope this works well. Okay. There we go. I think we've got Natalie here. She's going to be joining us in just a moment. Sure. All right. Let's see here. Looks like your camera is flipped, Natalie. It'll probably flip back here in a second, but we'll get that. So, folks, the liver is an important organ. It is what filters our blood. It puts nutrients in our blood. It takes chemicals and toxins out of our blood. It's such an important organ in our body, and it can be very easily burdened if we're not doing things to support it and to help it to detoxify, to help it to have bile flow. So, Natalie, thanks for joining us today. It looks like you're, let's see here. Looks like you're on mute, so we'll make sure to unmute so we can hear you. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Jason. How are you?
Good, doing well, doing well. So we were just talking to the folks about how many chemicals there are in our environment, hundreds of chemicals in our environment today, and it's putting a heavy burden on people's livers, and they're having different issues as a result, like gallbladder issues, so many different issues. And Steve, I mean, you could even list even more. I think that might be helpful for you to share with us even more issues that people are dealing with it as a result of a toxic burdened liver.
Well, they really believe that 70% of all of our degenerative diseases today are associated with toxicity due to the change of our environment since the chemical revolution after World War II. And there's been major changes in the push of synthetic chemicals to try to maintain our health, which don't work. Those are called pharmacia. We also want to be recognizing everything that we put on our skin, we put in our body, we let into to breathe in our household. There's so many chemicals. They say that the average person gets 42 chemicals that are toxic and carcinogenic into their system by the time they leave the house in the morning. Now, the average American that they tested in studies with the CDC showed that 18 years of age and up, the studies reveal 212 toxins that they tested for. 90% of those toxins were in all of the victims. All
Mm,
of the victims, or all of, I call them victims. They aren't victims, they're subjects. But we become a victim when we are being poisoned and we don't know it. And we can
yeah.
certainly do a lot about it. Even King David said, "Cleanse me with hyssop," in the midst of his sinful state. They used herbs and nutrients that help the body cleanse and purify out these toxins. And we especially chose Natalie because she's been going through a struggle
Yeah.
off
So
and on through the years, and she had been extra exposed to chemicals, which I'm looking forward for her to share that.
yeah, Natalie, tell us a little bit about, I know we're dealing with a little bit of stuff recently, but we were talking about, how you've benefited from doing some things as far as taking care of your health. But what were some health issues that you were dealing with before, that people can, like, I guess it had to do with your liver, but you can give us insights on just generally what you've been dealing with.
So I think really I was predominantly felt good. Like I didn't have symptoms of anything really until after my third baby. And that was 4 years ago, but I'd even had some stuff before that. So really the last 7 years I started, it kind of just was a climb or decline, really. Panic attacks, nothing was mental. It was all just out of nowhere. I'd be
Hmm.
just doing daily regular stuff. And I would have panic attacks. My um, gut was definitely out of order. The first time I had a decline, I started having multiple panic attacks within like 2 hour time periods.
Hmm.
And I ended up going to the ER, just trying to figure out what was wrong with me because, when you're having a panic attack, you think you're having a heart attack. And
Yeah.
so they prescribed me clonazepam, which is basically just a nervous system suppressant, really, and a prescription to see a psychologist. So there was no, I'm more of I need to know what's wrong with me, what's causing all the problems instead of just here, take this kind of pill. So I ended
Hmm.
up doing some digging and found out that what I was having was a vagal response to gut inflammation. And so I just kind of had to start digging and doing my own research. I did change my diet, and that helped tremendously. And this was pre-Steve. So I started to make the climb out, but then as soon as I made a climb within a year, it's like I hit another wall or another ceiling. So I really like to think of health as a building because you basically had to build your toxic body with all the ways that you've treated it over the years, or breaking down a building rather. Healthy buildings are high, they go up. You're breaking down your building for years and now you have to rebuild. So I was rebuilding, but then I'd get frustrated because I would hit a certain point and then all of these other issues would happen. So really, when I figured out through Steve that I had a toxic liver and gallbladder, which nobody bothered to look into any of that because every time I'd get my blood work done, oh, your blood work looks great. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I'm just a crazy person, but my inside is not right.
Hmm.
And so I remember the last time, so I'd had my son, my third baby, and it got to the point where I could no longer get out of the bed without feeling like I had run a marathon. I was constantly vibrating internally, which would cause me to be anxious because my whole body's vibrating involuntarily.
Hmm.
And that's when I decided to come down and see Steve the first time. So I think within probably 10, 15 minutes of my visit with him, he had told me, well, your liver and your gallbladder are toxic. And of course, I'm my skepticism, I'm like, well, how on earth can it be my liver and my gallbladder? It just didn't make much sense to me. So I basically didn't follow through with any of the things that he gave me. And I'm just being 100% honest. Part of that was financially, I wasn't willing to spend money on myself because we just didn't have it. And as moms, at least for me personally, I will take care of everybody else before I ever do anything for myself. Well, when you do that, you get sicker, not better. So here we are 2 years later, and we go through the stress of moving. I'm still not well. I come back to Steve 2 years later. Maybe it wasn't even that long. And he tells me the same thing, Natalie, your liver and your gallbladder are toxic. But I think this time, because I'm now sleeping on my office floor, all of my nervous system is firing, almost like the only way I can describe it is like ants, stinging ants. Wow. In your skin, almost like maybe shingles. And then lots of tendon swelling. My arms would go numb, this back pain that I had in my upper back area. And I just remember Steve being like, Nat, it's your liver and your gallbladder. I said, okay, well, I don't care what it costs, because I can't live anymore. You get to a point where you can't even function and there's no quality of life. And so at that point, money doesn't even matter. Like, if I don't have it, I'll find it, so I just remember there's two products in particular, which will always and forever be my go-tos. If that is all you can afford, you will be a very happy person, healthy person, and happy person. And that's Cell Energy and the C-Max, because I got almost instant results with having both of those, because they were the Cell Energy in particular, which stimulates the gallbladder and it then helps the liver clean out. I was cleaning out of the most foul things within the first 24 hours of taking it. I mean, I had instant back pain relief, which was huge because it had been months and months and months. And I remember messaging Steve and saying, the color of what's coming out of me is not a color I've seen before. It was bright orange, which, and it smelled like the Dickens, because it was all toxic buildup that my liver couldn't process. And so I think what happens is we don't realize, if our gallbladder is not functioning properly, our liver can't do its job. And to go back to what you guys were saying at the beginning about these people being tested for all of these chemicals, it's chemical buildup and chemical buildup and chemical buildup. And then the chemicals we're putting in our mouths, your liver and your gallbladder cannot keep up anymore with all of the chemicals going on. And that's just the truth. But if you have something that the Lord designed to basically, it's a counterattack to what the enemy's putting in the air and in our food, to cause your liver to function at 100%, and choosing the healthy lifestyle, because you can't still be this way, eat this way, live this way, and expect to feel better and to build your building back up. And so that's kind of just a brief of what happened with me. And I let it go on way too long, like way, way too long. But the more you learn about your body, because part of the battle is not knowing what's wrong with you. And so fear sets in that there's something horribly wrong with you. You have cancer or some sort of whatever. But knowing the issue and then combating it when it triggers you, because I still have, like even a couple of weeks ago, I still have trigger issues. But the difference is how I respond to it now is not the same. It's not out of fear. It's like, okay, this happens every year at this same time. I'm going to look at what I had an allergy test done, and I'm going to look at what's on that and see, is any of that going on in this season? Am I eating any of that? Now, I wasn't eating any of the things I had allergy to, but I had high allergies to molds, and it takes years to get your health back up to where it needs to be. So you hit another block, only the difference is it's not as bad, because now you have your weapons of choice, if you will, to flush that out, to get rid of it, and to get healthy. So it took me a matter of 3 weeks, but it's like breaking through that next ceiling and building that building. And so now I'm healthier, my body's stronger, but I have that knowledge of, okay, when this trigger comes or this happens, I need a little bit more of this in this season.
Hmm.
Or if you know you've been eating not good, you know that you have to double up in order to cleanse the body.
Yeah, that's good.
Natalie, you said a little bit more in this season. Being specific, I remember one of that favorite nutrient of yours, that cell energy, you had cut back on, and it has that special choline citrate in it that we don't get enough of, and it's so involved in nerve function, and it helps to it is a nutrient that builds bile and helps the
Yeah.
liver offload toxins. So you immediately started to see relief when we increased back to your recommended amount of cell energy. And that's just a natural human nature that, well, I'm going to try to cut back on this. But over time, you may not notice it. It may have taken 3, 6 months. And then the symptoms start to come back because the toxicity builds up again. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow
Yeah.
response. It's kind of like the frog in the saucepan, right? You've heard the story. The frog, if you put him in a hot pan and it's boiling water, he'll immediately jump out. But if you put a frog in a cool pan of water and then slowly heat it up, it'll boil him to death. He'll be deceived by that slow increase. And we don't want to be deceived by the slow increase of toxins in our body. We want to keep this temple clean. And those toxins cause an increase in body fat. I know you've had some significant body fat changes since you've been serious about your eating and lifestyle changes and supplementing, and you've really been a great testimony.
Oh, thank you. Well, I will say this. I think that having knowledge about your body, not just having, your doctor, whoever's prescribing you something, tell you what you need to do. It's good to learn about the functions of the body, because this is what I didn't know. I didn't necessarily cut back on cell energy. I just was not taking it at the proper time. And I think with a lot of supplements, timing is everything. I didn't realize that the liver and the gallbladder do their work at nighttime. So I was not taking the cell energy at night because I was like, oh, no big deal. I'll just take it during the day and it will do its thing. But there really is something important about, making sure that you know what times to take certain things, because your body, like you said, the meridian clock works a certain way, whether we like it or not. And so now I think what's helped me climb out of that yearly trigger faster was understanding the product, that, oh, I have to take that at the time that they're working, so it's max capacity, which is why I healed very quickly this year with that.
That's really neat.
Yeah, that's a special understanding that only our we call our avatar Natalie, the ideal client
Nutrition,
that
Natalie,
really
yeah.
wants to learn,
Mhm.
because we spend time in our appointments educating, teaching, because you can give a person a fish and feed them for a day, but if you teach them how to fish, you can feed them for a lifetime. And that's the goal. We don't want to just do something for a while, get better, go back to that old way of living, and then end up worse off in the future because the body gets weaker with age. Once we learn these things, we start to adjust quicker, and you did when you got in trouble. And but it hits you in the midst of seasonal change, more stress coming on in multiple different avenues. And it's wonderful to see you're back and better than before, and excited to have you back on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that what folks you want to kind of take away from what Natalie's sharing, what Steve is sharing, is that, you first and foremost put action to it. You got to give it a shot, and you kind of learn through that for the most part. You can study and research and look into nutrients all day that'll help this or that problem, but if you don't actually get the nutrients, follow the menu plan, if you don't put it into action and start seeing what it does for you, then it's all going to be conjecture in your head, and you're not really going to feel that difference. And that's what we're trying to encourage you and provide for you with Prosper Nutrition supplements, is that opportunity to start feeling the difference with these different quality supplements. So the nutrient in this cell energy that Natalie took that she really saw the improvement is called choline. And it's a citrate form of choline. So most people, they'll get choline in some supplements that'll help with detoxification or some other things that'll help with the liver. But the citrate form is so important in the way that our liver takes in this nutrient and utilizes it for cellular energy and activity, for bringing magnesium into the cell to alkalize and energize the cells, and really gets the liver producing that bile more efficiently. So that's an important difference that the Prosper Nutrition cell energy, that choline citrate form, really can help you feel the difference, like Natalie did. We take it too. I take it every morning and night. And sometimes during the day, if I've had a really heavy active day, I'll take more to get more of that energy and nutrients to my liver, keep things moving. And so,
Well, it's choline, Jason, too. I was thinking about the amount that we used to give to our clients would be anywhere from 200 to 600 to boldly, yeah, sometimes a little bit more than that. But in one serving, you can get 1,300 milligrams of choline in our liquid. And sometimes we'll do that twice a day to really move out the body systems. And it's remarkable the difference. Choline is used in the body also in the production of acetylcholine. So your nerves fire like they're supposed to. And we're talking about nerves for the heart, nerves for mental focus. They do link low levels of choline to an increase in the risk factors with dementia, Alzheimer's disease. And so we know it's a neurological support as well. Fatty acids go with that. Of course, it emulsifies the fats that you consume in your diet. We need to absorb the good fats. We need to excrete the bad fats, the rancid fats. And consequently, it'll put in check the bad cholesterols from sticking and bring the good cholesterol metabolism into better balance for hormone production. So many pathways are affected by that. There's some of the research articles at the bottom, but above that, right at the top of that page, you have the detail of all its unique benefits, and it's quite remarkable. Parkinson's also, part of that little tremoring and trembling that you had, Natalie, were like the precursor signs of Parkinson's that a lot of people get. They're getting an overfiring of their autonomic nervous system or a disruption there that's happening from chemicals that they've come in contact with.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and on that note, Steve, that's perfect. I think a lot of people, you're right, are not getting enough of that choline citrate, and day to day, not getting enough, but also people, when they get sick, they're in a deficit. And that's something that, people aren't really aware of that'll happen is you can go throughout your days and even years without getting the proper amount of nutrition in your diet and lifestyle, and not necessarily immediately feel the effects or know the effects. And you'll be getting into a nutrition deficit that leads you to these health concerns. And when you start taking the nutrients, you're only bringing back to baseline. That's what you're trying to move towards. So that's another thing to keep in mind is as you're starting to get healthier, it's a process, like Natalie was saying. It takes time implementing, working on it. But you definitely feel the difference when you start implementing it. You can feel the difference within days, weeks. So
what's important is that people come to understand that the RDA allowances do not at all have any relevance in today's society. They're so minuscule that if you follow those guidelines and you met those, now 80 to 90%, it's 70 to 90% of Americans don't get the RDA, even of the whole list of vitamins and minerals that were developed. But go beyond that. What about our optimal DA, ODA, the optimal amount to optimize all of our body chemistry functions. That's why we do blood chemistry analysis, micronutrient analysis. We do the food and chemical sensitivity test. You called that earlier, Natalie, you called it an allergy test, but that's basically an immune response test. It's specifically a lymphocyte response assay, which most people do not do. And 75% of their immune responses, their inflammation, their headaches, their joint pain, their mental fog, these reactions happen due to lymphocyte overactivity, cytokine storms, inflammation created by triggered lymphocytes. And the only way you can identify that is with a lymphocyte response assay specialized by ELISA-ACT technology. And that's a test that we do. And I think certainly we ought to offer that, since Natalie mentioned it, and let our viewers have a discount opportunity for that of some sort. I think at the NHC, we could offer a 5% discount on any one of the panels that they choose. And if they choose the comprehensive, we could give them a 10% discount.
Yeah, so if you are or want to be a client at the Nutrition and Health Center, we will extend that discount to you today. Or, if you call, referencing this video. So our office, Nutrition and Health Center, is, you can look it up online. Our phone number is 281-440-0024. But yeah, testing is something that can be very valuable, and this immune test can really help you identify things in your environment. It's really simple to follow. It makes it easy for you to find those things in your environment, and it has substitution options. So it is really helpful test to help you investigate your life and get those things out that are creating a burden on your body. So, Natalie, thank you so much. One of the things that I'd like you to share just at the end here, if that's kind of on your heart, about people that may be dealing with similar issues that you're dealing with, or any other people that are on your heart to share about health, like what they can do, or what you would encourage them to do.
Yes. Hold on one second.
Natalie has
little ones.
And she takes, I think this week she has taken care of 4 additional kids. So she also, in Natalie's, in her text she sent earlier when she was having issues, that she was heartbroken that she didn't think she could work at VBS, but she loves educating kids. She's got such a gift there. And she sent the sweetest note to us that basically said, "Thank you so much for what you do, so that it enabled me to do what I love to do, VBS, teaching, working with kids, and sharing God's word with them." Her kids are so polite, and we just are honored by you being here today, Natalie, because you walk with God and you teach your children to do that, and it's nice to be a part of your family.
Yeah.
Well, I think, for me in my own journey, and I know that a lot of people are like this, I think sometimes what we do is we get better for a minute and then we kind of slack on everything because we feel good. If you don't feel bad, then, there's no reason to spend the money on this, that, or the other, because now I'm healthy, I feel good. And I think what I've learned from the health journey, not just physically, like in the natural, but also it's the same spiritually. Like, you can't stop stewarding your temple, especially since it's something that, whether you're Christian or not, like, the reality is the devil hates humanity, and he will use toxic chemicals, toxic food, all the things. And for me, for people, is to just not stop. Like, if the Lord gives you knowledge of something and wisdom of something to keep your body healthy, just keep doing it. You're going to have days, or maybe once a year or twice a year, where maybe you're having to hit that next ceiling and build on another building to your health. Don't stop doing that, because I think what I've watched people do in the last 4 years, because I share a lot, when I know something works, I'm going to share it with you because I know that for me, I hated being sick. I hate sickness. I hate disease. It's not from the Lord. And so if I have the opportunity to give that to somebody else, I will. But what I've watched is I think people just get overwhelmed with maybe not seeing results as quickly as they would like, but at the same time, not taking responsibility for not doing the things that the Lord has blessed them with people that have wisdom and knowledge and understanding in that department. So I have had to push through a lot of those feelings of not partnering with discouragement, because that's how the enemy works. It's like, oh, well, you're not really fully healed because look, you're having this problem again. And instead of giving into that, especially this time around this year, I said, you know what? Nope, I have the keys that I need, and I'm going to talk to the people that know, and they're going to give me the plan that I need, and it works every time. But it always takes sacrifice. Nothing is free that's good. And so it says to buy wisdom in the Bible. And when I go see Steve, when I go get blood work done, when I purchase these incredible products, I'm no longer wasting my money, but I'm buying wisdom from people that have been doing this for years, that have already been through the ringer with their health, and the Lord's given them revelation on it. So it's worth it to me to not get my nails done, which is toxic anyway. Don't do that. It's it's all worth it. You have to build that building. Sometimes it's very quick for some people. Sometimes, like for myself, it takes time, but the beauty of it is I'm not down here anymore. I'm up here and continuously climbing. So keep going, don't stop.
That's good. That's good. Thank you so much for sharing that and sharing, the challenges you've been through, and, being open with people to be able to bless them and help, encourage them. It's really helpful, I think, for all of us to hear how each of us have gone through different health challenges and how we've overcome, and, how we're working through things, that we're all, like you said, we're all working through things a step at a time. And I think that's really great. Well, Natalie, I want to encourage people because I know you have a social media. I want to encourage people to kind of visit your social media. You sent me a link. How can they find you online? What's the best way?
Well, so if they want to laugh, they can go to my Instagram, which is just S and the number 2 Celtic.
Okay.
And then I think I sent you I have a little health page that I started. It's, fairly new.
Okay. I'm gonna
That they can
share
go,
my
because I
screen.
have a little bit more of my health journey on there.
Yeah.
From thyroid nodules to all the stuff I've been through. So I feel like,
Is
if they
this the
want
health
some of
one
that,
here?
yeah.
Okay. Cool. So the Nat FRAZ. Okay.
The Nat Fraz.
Okay. Great. And then they can find your other profile from there, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Awesome. Great. Yeah, go check her out. I've enjoyed some of her funny clips, and we encourage people to go and be encouraged by others that are walking the walk. And so thank you so much for joining us, Natalie. Hope you have
Thank you for having me.
yeah, we're very
Thank you, Natalie.
blessed to have you. We'll see you next time.
Okay, sounds good.
Take
God
care.
bless.
Bye-bye. Oh, that was great. Folks, Natalie is an example of someone who's just living it and trying their best and doing great. She's working through the challenges of life. We've got them. Even if we're with the Lord, we've got challenges that we need to walk through. And, she's doing a wonderful job. We feel very blessed to be a part of her life, and we hope to be a part of your life. So if you want to start feeling a difference with your supplements, order them at prospernutrition.com. You can order the Cell Energy. And today we're offering a 10% discount if you use the code 62124SHOW. You get 10% off the choline citrate and the brain bundle, and actually all of our bundles. So you can get 10% off all of our bundles by using the code. It's today's date, 62124SHOW. And you use that code at checkout. give you 10% off all of your supplements there. Steve, this was I think really helpful for a lot of people. Do you have any closing words for everybody out there on this topic of liver and gallbladder health?
I really not liked what Natalie said about when you feel better, don't slack.
Mm,
That's a dangerous thing. It's kind of like when you get into a good spiritual place, you don't stop reading your word, you don't stop praying, you don't stop seeking God, because it's so easy for the flesh nature to take over and take us down a wrong path. That being said, for the physical, symptoms are the last thing to show up, the pains and the irritations, but they're the first thing to go away when you start feeling better. It's just like what Natalie was saying. She started feeling better
mm,
right away, but her body is not through with taking care of itself, cleansing itself, restoring itself to health. Even when she was at a particular weight uh, months ago, 6 months or so, 9 months, I don't remember exactly, I encouraged her. I said, well, you're not at your optimal muscle to fat ratio. Don't stop where you are now. Just keep on going. And she's really done an amazing job. She is going for the top. I loved how her example of that. Just keep striving for the top and see yourself. Try to see, ask the Lord to show you where you can be. Because his
mm.
plans that he has for you exceed abundantly all you can ask or imagine. You can ask for great things, but he wants to do even more. It's kind of like when our kids are young. And now, Jason, as you have children, you know how much you want for their lives, and you see the great potential in them, and they know they want so much out of life. Well, you have a greater desire even than they do, because you've been loving it and seeing it in them since they were unable to even comprehend. And they're getting more comprehension, asking, seeking, and looking more for what God has is what it's all about. He just
Yeah,
wants to bless us immeasurably to show his glory in us and in our lives and
right.
the lives of those around us.
Yes, thank you, Steve. Yeah, and folks, this topic of nutrition tips, repairing your liver with nutrition tips, we've covered a lot of ground, but your body, God designed your body to repair. Another word for repair is to heal, but it's designed to repair. And there are certain factors that are needed to support that repair process. 7 Proven Steps is a free download you can take from prospernutrition.com. And it has those 7 principles are things that we have put together there. And a lot of health practitioners, they have kind of their list, right? So this list we put together based on what God has given us, the wisdom God's given us, and the information we've learned from research, science, nutrition, and then the clients that we've been working with for the last 30 years. So that free download will help you kind of work on your lifestyle, the 7 Proven Steps, and that will help get you on your way to supporting that body's repair process. And
Jason,
yes,
along
go
that
ahead.
line, I want to offer to the folks that do place an order to give them a copy of, well, anyone that inquires, let them have the article that I wrote on detox. And
Yes.
it breaks down the 7 principles associated with detox, but it also it explains how the nutrients work for that process, how those organ functions, and then also, yeah, all the principles, how they associate with the detoxification process in the body.
All right. Yes. So that article is so valuable, Steve. It's a great one you put together. And if you guys send an email, info@prospernutrition.com, we will give you the link for the free download of that article, Steve's article on detoxification. It's essentially nutrition foundations for detoxification. So it'll give you it's a great article. It's not short, but it's not really long. I would say what, like 10 pages or something like that.
Right, but it's
Yeah.
topical. You can kind of thumb through it
There's
and you can look
sections. Yes.
how
Right.
vitamin C works, how the choline citrate works,
Mm-hmm.
how water is associated with it. And so it's
Yeah.
fun to look through. And then you can reference, but you can search the PDF and look for specifics in there, diet, water, weight loss, things like that.
Yes. So that's a great article to have. So if you email us info@prospernutrition.com, we will give you the link. And just let us know you want Steve's detox article when you send that email, and we'll send that over. But folks, thanks for watching. Put this stuff into action. Use the coupon code today to get 10% off your order. 6/21/24 show. Order the Cell Energy, order the brain health bundle, and the detox bundle. You can order those for 10% off using that code 6/21/24 show at checkout, and you'll start feeling the difference, folks. If you have questions, we're here to help you. We're not going anywhere. We're not just some nameless, faceless supplement company. We're a family-owned supplement company that's here to help you if you need help. We'll get with you on the phone if you need it. We'll text you, email you, whatever you guys need. We're here for you. So send us, please like this video if you enjoyed it. Send us, any comments on the video if you have some feedback or questions. And join us next week. We're here every Friday, 1:30 Central Standard Time at the Prosper Nutrition Show, where we want you to prosper and be in health.